General force means social, political, legal and technological conditions. Relativity means it is a concept which differs from country to country. Whenever you see that there is an opportunity, you try to encash on the opportunity. But if there is any threat, you should see that there is a warning given to the management. Hello everyone, I am Purnima K, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence. In continuation of my sessions on business studies of 2nd PUC, I am today in my concept class, I will be discussing on the 3rd chapter, that is business environment. So, what are the contents of this session 1 of the 3rd chapter? I will be discussing about the meaning of business environment and its features. So, in the 3rd chapter, we will have all these topics, but in session 1, I will be doing the only the business environment and its features and the importance. And in the forthcoming sessions, I will be discussing on all these topics. Now, what is the meaning of business environment and what are the features? So, this we will be talking in session 1 and also the importance. So, why it is important for us to study business environment? Then, we will also be discussing its dimensions. So, what are the various dimensions of business environment that we will be discussing? Then, looking into the various dimensions. So, first one we have the economic, and after that we will be looking into the economic environment in India. So what is the what kind of Indian economy we have and what are the various features? So all that we will be discussing here, and we will also be discussing about liberalization, what is privatization, what is globalization, what is demonetization, and what is the impact of the government's policies which keeps on changing and how it has been affecting our industry. So all these things will be discussed in chapter 3, which will be divided into various sessions. Now, in this first session, let us just discuss the meaning of business environment. So, here if you can see here, there is the stock board. You can see the variations of prices. Then we have two gentlemen here standing here, and then we have this circle which represents the globe, and here we also see the, the stock index which is rising. So, if you can correlate all this, if you can aggregate all this and put it together, we can call it as the business environment. Now, let us look into the definition of the word business environment. So, it means the sum total of all the individuals, institutions and other forces. So, it means in the business environment, it includes whom? It includes individuals, it includes institutions and other forces. So, what are the other forces? So, it may be the consumers, it may be the consumer demand and supply, it may be the inflationary situation. So, anything that are outside the control of a business. These forces, they are external to the business on which the business cannot have any control. So, and these forces may affect its performance. So, whenever you are asked the meaning of the word business environment, you should say that it includes individuals, institutions and other forces that are outside the control of the business but which affect the working of the business. Now, if you can look into, if you want to have an elaboration, so it will be the other forces includes economic. So, if you can say other forces means it may be the economic forces, political forces, social forces, technological and other forces which operate outside a business environment and are a part of its environment. So, the political, economic, social, technological and other forces, they all affect the business and they constitute the business environment, or environment means surrounding. So, in the surrounding in which the business will work. Now, next again, if you can see here, how the business environment will be affected. So, it will be affected by changes in government policies. So, if the government declares your product which the company is manufacturing as not of good quality, or if it is unsafe for public consumption, then that means you will be running out of business. So, your production will have to stop. So, that is the effect of the change in government policies. Then, rapid technological developments. So, if that, notice that various technological developments are happening day by day. So, new and new innovations are being introduced to the society, and these technological developments have to be looked into. So, we have to study the technological developments, only then we can survive in the business. Then, political uncertainty. Now, what is this political uncertainty? Again, both of these are correlated. So, if the political party is very supportive of the business fraternity, then it is fine. But if it does not support the businessman, then it will be a cause for concern. Then, changes in fashion and taste. Now, we all know that the customers' taste and fashions keeps on changing. So, based on that, we have to keep on changing our products also. Then, increased competition. So, if there is a product which has been coming into the market recently, then you try to see that your product will survive in the market. How it will survive? Only through proper advertising and giving the product at competitive prices to the consumers. So, all these will influence the working of a business enterprise. So, we should know that business environment comprises of so many forces based on which the activities of the business has to survive. Then, let us look into the features of business environment. The first feature is totality of external forces. Now, the internal forces will help the business run, but then the other influence of the external forces. So, if you can see here the plant which has been watered here, and then this picture symbolizes the totality of the external forces. So, if the business represents a plant, then it has to be watered, it has to be given sunlight, it has to be given manure, etc. Only then the plant will grow. In the same way, we can say that business environment is the sum total of all things external to the business. So, whatever is external to the business, so that is very, very important, and all this it is the sum total of all these things. So, whether it is social, economic, political or technological, so all the total of all these things can be called as the business environment. Next feature of business environment is the specific and general forces. Now, what are the specific forces and what are the general forces? Now, specific forces means, it means the investors, customers, competitors and suppliers. So, these people are the individual stakeholders of the company. Now, the investor will be interested in getting more returns. Customers will be interested in getting better quality products. The competitors, they will be trying to see that your product will lose the demand, and suppliers will always think that they will always want to have a good relation with the company. So, all these people, they have a direct and immediate impact on the day-to-day working of the organization. So, we can say that the second feature of business environment is it has specific and general forces. Now, let us talk about the general force. Now, general force means social, political, legal and technological conditions. Now, what is this social, political, legal? So, social conditions of the society. For example, if the society is under lockdown, then there will not be any business activity. Then, political, legal and technological conditions. So, all these things will have an impact on the business enterprise. So whenever there is a situation like lockdown, then all the business will have to shut and the impact will be the same on all the businesses. So this we call it as the general force, and those forces which specifically affect the day-to-day working, that we can call it as the specific force. Now, coming to the third feature of business environment, so we can say that it is interrelated. Now, to what it is interrelated? If you can see the drawing here, it is interrelated with the state, with the society and the business. So the business is interrelated with the state, it has to relate with the society. Now, how does it interrelate with the state? How does it interrelate with the society? So, if you can take the example of the life expectancy of people, we all know that because of medical facilities and because of the latest developments in medical technology, we have been able to increase the life expectancy of people. Now, why we could increase the life expectancy? Because of increased health care. So, we have given the best health care and health products. Now, when you have good health care and health products, then we can see that because the general health of the people will improve, we can also introduce more and more health products to the people. So, depending on the demand of the society, we will be able to give the people whatever they are demanding. So, it is interrelated. So, business cannot survive in isolation. It has to have the support of the state and it has to live in the society. So, whatever the society is asking, it has to produce. Then next feature is dynamic in nature. And we all know that business environment is dynamic. Dynamic is something which keeps on changing. So one of the greatest changes in terms of technology. So every day we have improved technology. Then we are also noticing the shift in consumer preference and new products which are coming into the market at lower prices. So we should be able to study all these things. So based on that, we can say that business environment is dynamic in nature. So it keeps on changing. Then the next feature of business environment is uncertainty. So what is this uncertainty? If you can see this drawing here, it is just like, looks like it is about to rain. But so this is the weather here. This picture shows that it is about to rain, but whether it rains or not, that depends only on the situation. Now the same way the business environment is also uncertain. So we cannot predict the future. What will happen in future? We cannot predict, because when environmental changes are taking place too frequently, so the business environment keeps on changing and it is highly unpredictable because of the uncertain future. As you all know that future is uncertain, and based on that the environment keeps on changing, and so we can come to the conclusion that business environment is uncertain. Then the sixth feature of business environment is complexity. So you cannot understand the nature of the business environment. So there are numerous interrelated and dynamic conditions or forces. Now, when you look into the forces which are playing in the business environment, they arise from different sources. So, from different sources, the business will be affected, and we will not know exactly what is the reason for the change in the business activities. So, environment is a complex phenomenon. So, it is something which we cannot understand easily, and that is relatively easier to understand in parts, but to difficult to grasp in its totality. So when each aspect, if you can, each aspect of the force you can understand easily, but what is the extent of its effect on the activity of the business, that is very difficult for us to understand. The next feature of business environment is relativity. Relativity means it is a concept which differs from country to country. So the business environment, we all know that business can be done only in a society, and the business environment is related to its society. So if it differs from country to country, that means the environment in India is different from environment in China, or it's different from environment in USA, or is different from environment in Pakistan. So based on the political conditions, so the environment will differ. So these are the features of business environment. Next, we will look into the importance of business environment. So what is the, why we should study the business environment? How it is important for us? First one is, it enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Now, what do you mean by opportunity? Opportunity refers to the positive external trends. So, opportunity means what are the various business opportunities where you can start your business, or changes that will help a firm to improve its performance. So, opportunities represent the business ideas which the businessman can take to improve his business. Now, the environment provides numerous opportunities for business success. Now, if you can study the business environment, we can identify the opportunities which are favorable for the business, and also all those opportunities which ensure success for the business. Now, early identification of opportunities helps an enterprise to be the first to exploit them instead of losing them to competitors. Now, when you study the business environment, you will identify the opportunities where you can do business, and then you should be able to exploit it, or you should be able to see that these opportunities are obtained, or you see that you make use of the opportunity for the benefit of the business. Now, if you don't make use of the opportunity, then somebody else will do. Then you will be losing the opportunity to the competitors. Then the second importance of business is it helps the firm to identify threats and warning signals. Now, what is this identification of threat? So, these threats, it means the trends and changes that will hinder a firm's performance. Now, what will hinder a firm's performance? Firstly, the demand for the product. So, if the demand for the product goes down, then automatically the firm's performance will be affected. Now, it helps the firm to identify threats and early warnings, means you should be in the lookout for any technological changes. Now, if you can take the example of the old camera where you had to insert the roll and take the snaps, nowadays we have the mobile phones where we can take the photos at any time without the use of the roll and everything. If you can just see that, if you can identify the threat to your product, then you should be able to make proper planning for such threats. You see that your products are you should see that your business changes as per the environmental conditions. Then next importance of business environment is we should also be, it happens to be the source of many threats. So there will be many threats in the form of technological threat, in the form of competitors a product which will be offered at a lower price than the product. Then there will be so many other political pressures also on the business. So we should be able to identify what are the various threats to the business. Then environmental awareness can help the managers to identify various threats. Now the manager who is studying the business environment, he should see that the various threats are identified, and then he should also try to give a warning signal, so where we can prosper. So he should see that the threats are converted into warnings, and the business will have to modify itself to overcome these threats. Then the next importance of business environment is it helps in tapping useful resources, and we all know that business cannot survive without the environment. So whatever resources the business is using, it will be provided by the society. So to engage in any type of activity, it assembles various resources. So it may be in the form of finance, machines, raw materials, power, water, labor, etc. So all these the business will be getting it from the outside environment or the external environment, and these people who are providing all these for the business activity, they will have their own expectations to get in something in return from the enterprise. Now the enterprise, they will be having their own expectations. So if the financier is giving finance, he will expect to get interest from the business. So then the raw material supplier, he will be having his own expectations. So in this way we can see that it helps in tapping useful resources. Then next importance of business environment is it helps in coping with rapid changes. So whenever you see that there is an opportunity, you try to encash on the opportunity, but if there is any threat, you should see that there is a warning given to the management. Now today's business environment is getting increasingly dynamic. So we know that consumers' tastes and preferences are changing very fast, and we should try to see that we keep in pace with the consumers' tastes and preferences. So it is not the fact of change itself that is so important as the pace of change. That means the changes are coming very fast, and the business has to modify itself to keep in touch with the changes. Then in a continuation of the same point, we see that what are the various changes? Turbulent market conditions. Now what is this turbulent market conditions? So if you can see the share market, so there will be too many highs, ups and downs in the share market, less brand loyalty. So brand loyalty is something which every businessman will want from his customers. Now we can see that there is lesser and lesser brand loyalty, division and subdivision of markets. So markets have been divided and customers are more and more demanding. Then so rapid changes in technology. So every day we have new inventions which are coming into the market, and intense global competition. Yes, global competition means, so we can see that through the online business we can reach any part of the world. So global competition also is something which we have to just think of because of this changing environment. So in order to effectively cope with this significant changes, managers must understand and examine the environment. So we know that the environment keeps on changing, and because of these changes, the manager has to understand what are the changes, and he should also develop suitable courses of action. Then the fifth importance of business environment is it helps in assisting in planning and policy formulation. Now, why we should study business environment? Business environment is studied to identify the opportunities and also the threats in the organization, to keep up with the changes in the environment. Now, based on all these observations, we can do our future planning. So, what are the future plans of the business? So, what are the policies to be formulated? All this for this, the input will be given by business environment. So, environment is a source of opportunities and threats, and we should have a careful understanding and analysis. Then we can decide the future course of action and training guidelines for decision making. So, for all these things, these are the inputs. So, inputs is given by the business environment, and planning and formulation are the outputs. So, once you study what is the business environment is in, only then you can plan for the future. Then the next importance of business environment is it helps in improving the performance. Now, where there is very good business opportunity, you can make use of that. The final reason for understanding business environment relates to whether or not it really makes a difference in the performance of an enterprise. Now, we should understand that if we can understand the business environment better, then it will help in giving a better performance of the business. So, the enterprise that continuously monitor the environment and adopt suitable business practices, they will improve their performance. Now, we should be on the lookout for the changes in the environment. So, there should be a careful monitoring of the business environment, and based on the monitoring, we should adopt suitable business practices. Simply monitoring the environment is of no use. Only when you can when you can notice the changes and make suitable policies for that, only then we can improve the present performance of the business and also continue to succeed for a longer period. So, to stay in the business, in the competitive world, it is necessary for us to study the environment and then formulate the future plans and policies. Only when we just respond to the environmental changes, then only we can improve our present performance and also continue to stay in the market for a longer period. Now, we have come to the end of the session. Hope you have understood whatever I have discussed in this session. Thank you.